Alright, I've made this video 3 times and I'm giving you the cliff notes because I was tired before I made this and I'm tired now. I can't. The first time my mic wasn't on, 20 minutes long. The second time, I was out of focus. And that hurt me. That hurt me to watch it. And I was like, I'm gonna post it. I can't because I felt like I couldn't see by the middle of that video. And I was just gaslighting everyone, you know? Anyway, here's here's a quick life update. I had this so much more. Does anyone give a life update? I went to Matera, Italy. It was great. I saw my work in person. It was fantastic. Took my grandmother. Here's some photos. She loved it. I loved it. I saw my work in person. I'm an international artist. I thought that somehow from that, a bunch of curators talked to Carmela. She's my curator. And then they contacted me. Not true. She didn't talk to anybody, but somehow now I'm showing work in Florence, Italy, Paris, France, right outside the Louvre, New York City in October. France is going to be happening in April. I have a big life decision to make and a big opportunity happening to me on Thursday. I'll talk more about that next week. I got published in the Visual Art Journal. That was really cool. There's a whole ass interview on me in here, which was crazy because I actually subscribed to this. There's like 2 pages in here. Look at that. This is like the work that I'm doing right now. It's being shown everywhere. On that, I got this thing here. This is a magazine, but it was also a gallery in Minnesota with my diptych work. This is where I break things and put back together with expired film, really low medium art called TikTok. Yes, it's about our administration, half-assed stuff, you know what I mean. Monochromica, first thing really published in. This is the Red series. I was like, why do you want this? These are self-portraits of me. I actually made them inspired of Taylor Swift for the Dear Reader song and Maroon, 2 great songs. Dear Reader hits me on a personal level. It's about masking and actually being unhappy and people thinking that you're having a life together. I can't find the page right now, but you get it. It's also makes me feel a little bit like Cindy Sherman a little bit. This is not what I look like on a normal basis, but that was the first time that I put myself in that space. But I did this work really just to keep myself alive. I have a whole Taylor Swift series. You should check it out if you like her or if you don't. If you love music and you like making work about music, you should look. I have a lot of that. But you should also do that because every time you like absorb hearing something and you make work from that, it's like coming from your own brain, you know? It's like we eat so much visual stuff all the time that you're like kind of subconsciously copying people's ideas. But if you like hear or read a book and you like get an idea, that's from your brain. Monochromica, this was the first one that they put out, was the Black and White series. So this is actually what I was accepted into the first time. And this is with my Moments I'll Remember Memories That You'll Forget series with my grandpa when he was diagnosed with dementia. A fun thing about this specific image, I created this in a demo for my students, for my black and white film students. And we were making multiple negatives in the darkroom. And I took a negative print and put it with a positive actual film strip. And I created this, and I realized I was creating psychological landscapes of like places that were unfamiliar. And that's how I created this, which led into my new, like, these Died With You pieces. So this is how Pat Finnegan actually found me, and then he reached out for the second one. So those are the cool things that had happened to me. I have also a full interview as well as a solo show coming up for Goddess Art Magazine and Gallery that's hosted in Denmark, and a few other really, really cool opportunities. So that is my rundown of things that are happening. Doing it in a snippet. Already did this 3 times. What is life? I was tired before that, and this is Tuesday. After Italy, I got home, and then I went to the West Coast with my family. My spouse and I did a vow renewal on the top of a mountain. So we did that with my friend Erin. And she's the only photographer that I've found that hypes me up the same way that I hype up my clients, and then also photographs the same way that I do. Both color, style, and light. So that's worth mentioning. I got home and then I went to the West Coast with my family and like 3 days of acclimation, and then like I messed up my time zones all over again. And then I got home like 2-3 days ago, and then my family from North Carolina came up, and so I've been with them. So it's been really crazy. While I've been here, I've been editing and getting back on track. And then literally my school and university starts in like a month and a week. So I have a lot of work to do with that too. From traveling, I have this new idea of what I want for my future, because traveling to see your own art is incredible. And I've shown work in all around the United States before. Like this upcoming week, I have a show called Resistance in Rhode Island, which is really cool. I have a show at the same time of Matera, and right now it's still going on, called the Big Gay Art Show in Sedona, Arizona. What's cool about those two is they are showing my portraiture work. What's really hard about the fine art world is that they are really selective of what they want to show. A lot of places don't like showing portraiture. Not that it's not real art, but it's just once they see a portrait face, people like to attack stories to it or like put on judgment, right? And the point of like the resistance or showing faces of like LGBTQI community is to in fact confront that judgment, right? So we're trying to show that all people should be seen and show representation. Anytime you also have like anything aimed at like a minority community, same thing. But up until this point, I was just doing a lot of portraiture work, so I was used to like a 70% rejection because that's all I was doing. And now that I'm doing like universal experiences with like grief or mental health or any of these things that we all feel, and I'm doing darkroom and film, now all of a sudden my acceptance rate has gone up to like 90%. Which has been very overwhelming and very expensive because every gallery, if they're super funded by like a grant or just in general funded by the public, you only have to pay like a submission fee to get your work looked at, and then once it's accepted, you're good. But then there's a lot of nonprofits that I work with that they need you, especially internationally, to rent your wall space, or you have an acceptance fee, and then you have to ship your work out, so it's very expensive. But I've shown work before in like Tucson, Sedona, LA, California, and multiple different areas, all over Michigan, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, New Mexico, Florida. Like, I've been to all of these places, but now I'm doing it internationally, so it's even more pricey. But now I'm getting this opportunity to like fly all around the world, and I don't have kids. And my spouse and I had, this idea that we were like, well, if we don't have kids, we're compromising. We're not going to move outside of the U.S. even though we want to, but our family is here, so let's get up and go when we want to. Obviously we have jobs, so we have to work around that, but now that I'm showing work, I want to go see that work too. I have this like kind of new idea that I would love to like teach, go to my work when I can, and also like take sessions and stuff when I want, to kind of fuel that cost too. And my one of my seconds and I had this idea as a joke, but now I'm kind of thinking that it's serious. We were like, actually, we're going to create a business plan on that. But how she is going to continue her business and having me as like an add-on if people want like film or double exposures or more like the fine art side or more candids, because as I'm getting older, I'm starting to love more of a high clarity, high depth of field, detailed shots of like areas. So like if you're in a wedding reception, instead of just doing shot of the field, oh look at this cute couple, like what are the people in the background doing? Because sometimes that's like really interesting. And then like real true candids and like just this film feel, because I'm starting to get really tired of like really amateur trends, to be honest. Things that have passed me in 2010 that are coming back now are really exhausting to see amplified, because they're just amplifying very bad tactics in photography that are kind of like making professional photographers look like we're not worth being paid for. So good examples: Dutch angle. You can't hang that. It's like, all of this stuff is just amplifying the digital image that never goes beyond the digital. So once you try to print some of these things, it looks ridiculous. So that looks ridiculous. That was a thing in 2010. The super yellow image with no colors, that was also a thing in 2010 that dates that. That's back. It prints terrible. Declarifying everything to where it's just hazy looks really bad in a print. Looks great on a digital image. Things where it's just like such a slow shutter speed because you weren't paying attention and nothing is in focus, but people are like, art. Okay, so if you have like a point of something in focus, fine. If it looks like well intended, I love when like there's like a hand in focus and everything else is not. But if it's just like blurry, I also wonder what the intention of that is with your clients. Like, if someone is posting a sneak peek of me, and it's just like a blurry image, and then like the next one is like my hand, I'm gonna be really pissed off. Like, I'm actually like really worried about the rest of my gallery. Like, so are you posting for photographers to like geek at your stuff, or are you posting for your clients? And I think that's a good thing to like also establish. Like, what type of artist are you? I like to play a balance, so that's why I have two different like social medias. I have a page one that is focused for fine art, and then I have an A page photography that's like commercial. So my clients will get their like standard stuff that they hired me for, and my other one is kind of like, this is my fine art stuff. Don't take this serious if you're like my clients who paid. This isn't going to be like your only images. So that way there's like a boundary that we walk. Because I do play both, but I also want them to know like they're going to get their money's worth too. So I think that's really smart to establish, otherwise you're going to have angry clients. But if they hired you knowing that you're like straight up artists, sure, do that. That's fine. But I think that you need to walk that line too. So there's like just a bunch of amateur stuff going on. High ISO. High ISO is like a lie, by the way. It's just you get really big files, and then that gives you the ability to shoot higher ISO, so you don't notice it as much. It's not that your camera's like magical and better. My ideal ISO 125. I don't like shooting above 800. If I have to, I will in like dark scenarios, but not my favorite. I will try to avoid it like the plague. I just how to use a flash. Learn how to use a flash, and if not, use video light. I don't know. If you want your clients to have the best printable images, do that. So there's a difference between images on a digital screen and printed images. And if you'd like to see that, print your images and see what they look like, and then you can be the determining factor for yourself. So those are just my professional opinions based off of being an academic. And if you want to say that that's like stuck up or whatever, fine, that's fine. I have degrees and I did that for a reason. I don't know. That's just being educated in that field. But I have reasons of why I do that, and that's just based off of prints that I've done. Interested to hear, I'm like really burnt out from the wedding industry. This is like my 17th year. Because, so there's like all the trends that you always have to keep up, but like not only that, artists can't just be artists anymore. We have to be like video creators. We have to be funny, real creators, accountants, PR and marketers, booking agents. We also have to make sure that we're getting our like data correct for like invoices and expenses for our true accountants at the end of the year. We also need to make sure that we are emailing on time and keeping all of that in our data and our images correct. There's just like so much, and on the day of the wedding we usually end up to be wedding coordinators, and if people have wedding coordinators, sometimes they can be a little bit much too, but also like it's just like it's so much noise all of the time that I can't think that for the new photographers out there that you guys won't be burnt out even quicker than I was. And with that, like, I definitely had to take breaks, and I definitely still today, at least twice a day, have to walk away and do something that's not artsy related or creative related, so I can just have like my brain like disconnect. Especially with fine art, I have to make sure that I am not doing something to come up with my best ideas, or I have to do something that's like totally disengaging. So like running, anything to do with water, in the shower, swimming, sometimes using the bathroom. It's like the best time for me to come up with ideas. Just any time that you can take pressure off your mind of being creative is usually when you can make your best ideas. So give yourself like a day of rest completely. I say this as someone who has a hard time resting. And then also make sure that you're taking breaks throughout the day, whether you're like editing, like walk away. If you shoot on a day, make sure you're not editing on a day, etc. Like, so just make sure that you're maybe like swapping that around. But yeah, do something for you. But I would like to hear, if you're new to this industry, like, how are you feeling right now? Do you feel tired all the time? Do you feel exhausted from like trends? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Economy wise has already affected my next year's schedule, which has never happened to me. Even 2020, I still shot 39 weddings that year. I only had one cancellation. People just reduced their sizes, and I just masked up and I stayed my distance, and everything was pretty much outside. And we had like 10 people max in every space. So this year I have a good amount. I aimed for 15 and I have 16. I have a few elopements. Next year, usually at this time, I have like 12 or 13 weddings, and I do not have that. But that might be okay for me for the direction I'm going for my professional career. But yeah, if you're an older photographer, tell me where you're at. If you're a new photographer, I also want to hear if you're like, how are you feeling like in the community right now? Next week, I am going to talk about what it takes to be in this industry. So first of all, like, if you're an introvert, no, you're not anymore. I am. I'm not anymore. Not when I'm working. And then I also want to talk about just like ways to handle different comments, mostly from men. But that's all. I'm done doing this. I did this 4 times now. That's a lie. It's 3. Caught me in a lie. Goodbye.